I'm just gonna do an audio check. This is gonna be a coding stream. Just want to make sure everything's good with the audio. I'm just gonna do an audio. All right, looks good. In the last stream, I was trying to kind of work through. I was kind of trying to do what I do, which is the kind of the point of the channel is, I kind of learn it in real time. And then you'll kind of see that process, and then I'll teach it after. But with GitHub, I got really stuck, and I'm just gonna kind of so I kind of went on my own path and tried to figure it all out so I could kind of get unstuck for anyone watching, and then kind of report back what I learned. So here's what I learned from GitHub. So I think the best way to express this is Microsoft Paint, and I'm just on a just a regular trackpad, so it's probably not going to be great. So let's try this out. One moment. I'm just gonna load up Microsoft Paint. So there's 3 different things, and there's a lot of confusion between these different things. So there's GitHub, Git, so I'm literally drawing this with my trackpad on my laptop, so bear with me. But there's GitHub, and there's Git. So I'm going to kind of explain to you the dilemma that I faced. Actually, I don't know, let's just have a lowercase I, Git. So it's GitHub, and then there's Git. This means Git. So between the two, I just want to make sure this is working. All right. So between the two, they kind of get confused for each other, but best of my understanding that I figured out is GitHub is online. GitHub is online. Yeah, it's hard to draw a dot. It's online. And Git is on your computer. So Git is on your computer. I'll just say local. Oh, that's a bad A. It's on your local system. So how these things two work together, and first of all, if anyone doesn't know what Git and GitHub is, I did explain it before, but I'll just explain it again. So it's called a version control system. A version control system. So, this is about coding, right? So it's imagine a group of students are working on an essay, and within that you're going to get a bunch of different versions of that essay, and then there's going to be kind of confusion on what one is the right one. Like, let's say one student works on that essay a little more, and then another student works on it more. Like, it could get confusing because then you're going to get all these different versions, and then you can run into that dilemma alone, let alone with other people. And a lot of times when you're working with code, you are working with other people. So there's a need kind of for a version control system, which will basically make it so that there'll be a clear understanding of what the main version is going to be, and you'll have access to all of those different versions. So let's say Pete does this to the code, you will be able to get back to that version where Pete did that code at that time, at that day. But GitHub is basically where all of it is pushed to. So it's all online. It's all on the web. It's all out there. And what Git does is Git makes it so that you can work with it on your local computer, and in real time it'll sync all of that new code every time you save it to GitHub automatically. So it basically makes it so that whatever work you do on your personal computer, it will be you'll see those changes in GitHub. Now the problem with that is the actual software Git is very difficult to use, and I think it would be bad to kind of go into it in a first kind of in a beginner's level of programming, and it confused me. So there's a solution to this. So the solution to not being confused by Git is GitHub Desktop. GitHub Desktop. GitHub Desktop. So you're probably saying that GitHub Desktop, I thought that Git is all about local code. Git is about, using like something like a desktop computer and, uploading that to the online version that is GitHub. So what GitHub Desktop does is it bridges the gap between Git. So otherwise, where you would need to kind of write a command line to get a lot of that done. So I'll actually show you Git. I think I have Git somewhere in the system. Well, actually, it was shown in another system. It was shown in the last tutorial, but GitHub Desktop is pretty much the way to go, because what it'll do is it'll basically accomplish what Git usually would do. So that's kind of what we're going to work with. So I'm actually going to show Git Hub Desktop right now. So this is GitHub Desktop. This is GitHub Desktop. I was able to create a repository relatively easy. Let's say I make a new repository. I'll say for this tutorial, and I'll make a description, a script. It'll have a local path, so it'll ultimately build a file where I can edit it in my computer, and it'll be reflected in my GitHub account. So now create that repository, and now that repository will exist. So let's find that repository. Hold on. One moment. Alright, so right here. So this is my GitHub account. This is my GitHub account. And we get code, and when we go into repositories, it should be available. Actually, it's not. Hold on, let me troubleshoot this a bit. Current repository. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna make a commit. Hold on. I think I need to make a commit first for it to be actually reflected. So I'm gonna make sure you can see that. So this is GitHub. So for this tutorial, oh, publish repository. I did not publish the repository. Okay, so that's what happened. See, I'm a little new to it. So right now, so this is a lot easier of a version than command line interface that's through Git. We're gonna eventually get to that, but I want to kind of learn this first. I kind of want to make this known first. So now, I'm going to flip it, where we just have the GitHub. So now we're in GitHub, and let's see if that got reflected. So now you see it. Now you see the GitHub. Now you see the repository that I just created. So this is like a file path where in real time we can see, any of this code. So I could, add a README. I could add anything. Another thing that you can do that I've done is you can make, I just want to go back to GitHub desktop, is you can actually code in real time by opening, opening this in a IDE. So an IDE, that's kind of where you code. So just in case you wanted to use it, you could. So I kind of have that figured out. So IntelliJ IDEA, I want to just load that. So, one moment. I'm just flipping through a lot of files. So this is IntelliJ IDEA. One moment. I don't know why it's not loading. Create a new window. Alright, so right when I hit open an external editor, it made it so that I can basically create code this way, and then once I make the commit this exact same way, like let's say I create some code here. Let's create some code here. Could make it an HTML code. Call it new code. I could make this H1. This is the first heading on 2/19/23. This is the second heading. This is the third heading. So I could save it. But then what I could do also is I could make it a commit. So I'm making it a commit. New HTML file. Say all of them. This is actually the code that's new. But let's commit. And now we're gonna push that code, that new code to that repository. So now we're gonna go back to GitHub again. And we're going to find that code. So let's just go back into repositories. For this tutorial, it looks like there's a new file. New code.html. And there's the code. So that's in real time, how you do it. So that's kind of how we're going to work with this going forward. I kind of wanted to create some kind of understanding of Git and GitHub. And we're going to be making that understanding easier with GitHub Desktop. And in the future, I'm going to be every example that I work on, I'm going to be using GitHub. So just getting in the habit of it and just making the process very clear. And that is actually it. I just wanted to go over kind of how I got unstuck from GitHub. So that is all.